Welcome to Blank Mania. My name is Neville and I'm more commonly known as Super Nev. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make an eye-catching sign in just a few simple steps. The video is running at 8 times normal speed, so please make sure you keep watching so you don't miss out any of the important steps to complete the job. I'm going to tell you the important parts, so keep watching and listening and it'll all make sense. The wasteboard for the machine has a square grid pattern cut into it by the CNC machine after it was clamped down, so it's perfectly aligned to the machine. Using a ruler, mark the diagonals where they intersect to easily find the center of the board. Then line up the blank to the grid and clamp it down. It's definitely not a hard piece of material, so you just nip it to tighten it. There's no need to pull a face trying to clamp it down. A simple design like this running in real time and having 2 bit changes takes about 30 minutes to cut. If you've got a CNC or seen one working before, then you'll know that this can be done quicker. However, I don't run the machine at full speed. If you think about it, if you had a car and your car can do 200 and you drive everywhere at 200, then your car is not going to last. So basically what I do is I leave the tool speeds as they are set in Vbit Pro, and then I adjust the feed rate in Mark III down to around 70%. For this sign, there are only 2 bits that we're going to use. A 1/8 inch or 3.175mm end mill bit, and a 60-degree V-bit, 16mm. Even though this is a small sign, there's a fair bit of material to clear away. Due to the tightness of some of the curves of the Rhino, I opted to use the 1/8 inch end mill instead of the 6mm end mill bit. I could have added an extra clearance tool in VCarve, but that would have meant an extra tool change, an extra step to set the tool height. So the 1/8 inch bit is mainly used for clearing the bulk of the Rhino away and some of the material in the Scrabble letters. The 60-degree V-bit does pretty much the bulk of the lettering and finishes off the Rhino nicely. So the sign comes off the machine and then it's got black paint in all the detail. I wish I knew what happened to the footage of me painting it, but I actually don't. So just to explain for the painting, it's just a simple one-color design. On this particular day I only had this piece to paint black, so I chose to paint it by using a basic artist brush. This had a narrowish tip and the paint used is just a very basic opaque black acrylic paint. Nice and easy to use, and best of all it's water based, so to clean the paintbrush afterwards is really easy and there's no dealing with hazardous substances. I like it. Work smart and not hard. Acrylic paint dries really fast, especially if you're putting down thin coats. So after completing the painting, the sign was left to sit for a while so that the paint has time to harden. Even though it's touch dry, it still needs time to harden. So once you've let the sign sit for a bit, sand the excess paint from the surface. A fair bit of dust can be generated from sanding, so I like to keep a vacuum or hoover handy to get rid of this. Some people keep an airline handy and blow the dust away. I guess it's whatever works for you. I try to keep the work area clean, so that's why I like the vacuum or hoover method. So at this point, the part of the sign with the detail is basically complete. You'll see that I then start getting pieces together that I can make a frame with. I start by placing the top and bottom piece where they would sit on the sign. Then I measure the length to cut the 2 sides. Doing it this way ensures that you get the length of the sides correct. As the saying goes, measure twice and cut once. So I now have the 4 pieces for the frame. I decide to use screws to hold the frame together. I mark the 8 positions for the screws so that their positioning is all symmetrical. Holding it in place, drill pilot holes deep enough so that when you put the screws in, the wood doesn't split, and then insert the screws. The screws I chose for this are actually quite nice. They're 4x30mm with a T20 head. The T20 socket grips the screw and doesn't allow any slipping or the socket coming out of the screw head. You'll see that when I'm assembling the frame, I'm not using a square, and that's because I'm actually using the sign as a reference. Once I've got the frame all screwed together, I do a quick test and make sure that I can get the sign into the frame. It's a nice snug fit and I'm quite happy with that. So now is where the real fun starts. It's easy to stick a few bits of wood together, but what do you want it to look like when it's complete? So for me, I was thinking just the 3 basic points really. Firstly, I wanted to make the sign simple. Secondly, I wanted to use MDF because that's what so many of the blanks are made from. And third, I wanted to use a softwood, which is easy to work with. I also knew that with just a few basic steps, I could make it look old and stunning. So the trick here is to give the frame a little bit of TLC basically. Spend some time sanding the frame and getting all the pieces nice and smooth, and also all the joints nice and smooth. If some of your joints are not joining up perfectly after you've sanded the frame a bit, take some of the sawdust and mix it with wood glue into a pliable paste and then fill those gaps. Again, like the paint, make sure you give it time to not only dry but to harden too. If you start sanding over it and you get a gooey mess on your sanding pad, then you know the glue wasn't hard yet. So finish the sanding and round off all the corners. The frame should already be looking really good now, and it isn't even completed yet. The pine or redwood that was used for this frame is really light in colour, so thinking along the lines of getting it to look like older wood, I decided to use a gas torch on it and basically scorch it a bit. Besides obviously making the appearance darker, it really makes the grain stand out more. The heat generated by a gas torch is really intense, so if you're going to try this method at all, please be really careful. Before scorching the actual item, I'd suggest doing a test on a piece of offcut. The piece of offcut is kept one side because it's going to get used again to test the colour for the wood stain. Once satisfied with the stain test, the frame gets stained and then left to dry. I already know that the sign fits into the frame and it's a nice snug fit, so once the frame is ready, I simply do a press fit to get the sign into the frame. I'm really happy with the way the sign turned out. It's got a really nice, simple and clean look about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and please remember to click like and subscribe.